The question today is, how are you minding your own business? Let's get into it. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Minding Her Own Business. Hi, Ledi. How are you?
Hey, Victoria. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're here, and we're in this beautiful studio recording, and I hope you're getting like some home goods inspo from everything here. Guys,
exactly
she wants to steal the mirror.
The mirror is coming home with me in the olive tree.
Okay.
It gives me the whole Mediterranean
I'm going to send you
vibe.
a bill.
Yes.
But it's so good. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining on another episode. I'm so excited to introduce you to Ledi. Ledi is an entrepreneur, strategist, and thought leader who's turned her career as a public figure in music and reality TV into building multiple businesses across industries, including tech and AI. Wow, like huge pivot. Known for her ability to reinvent and pivot through different life chapters, she brings a real-world perspective, turning on visibility, identity, and clarity into sustainable businesses that evolve with life and who you are becoming. So, I mean, Ledi, I know your story. I think it's wild that you turned Albanian pop star, turned reality TV show host, to now you own an AI and tech company. So, like, tell us how that even came to be. Like, what sparked that huge life pivot, and walk us through that.
I think I've never seen life as an aspect of like do one thing and you're happy, and I've always loved to pivot it. I love to take head first actions without thinking of what I'm doing, and kind of like figure it out along the way. And that's how I started in music. That's how I pivoted to reality TV. That's how I've always done things. It was never about getting bored. It's like what lit me up and what I was passionate about. So I had always said to myself that the day I become a mom, I find out I'm going to be a mom, is the day that I pivot from the entertainment business into a different kind of business, just because I never wanted to miss like nighttime routine with kids. So it had nothing to do with like the actual business of it. It's like where my life or the season of life was taking me. So my amazing husband, he is a tech genius, and we ended up opening up a business together. And he is, I have to say all these things because he's here listening. He's in the studio.
Let's say hi.
Now he's officially blushing. My power is always the reinvention, visibility. I love being out there. And that is not his superpower. He has other powers. So when we brought both of our powers together, I took what was part of me and he did what was part of him. And it's like when you come into the family, you're building an empire together. Sometimes we're thinking about empires, like level of a bank account or wealth, but it's like a family coming together and like really designing your mission as a family. Like, where are you going and what fits? Like, is it a business or what fits in the family to go and grow along with you?
Okay, so you went from reality star and musician and then decided, okay, when I become a mom, I'm going to pivot. What conversations did you and your husband have to kind of figure out what that next move was, and how did you make that risk analysis? Because I think starting any business, anyone who's listening to this, if you're a business owner, there's definitely like pros, cons, and this level of risk that you're willing to take, especially once you do have kids. You have to put food on the table, you have to provide, and starting something new, especially in AI, that's such a huge undertaking. So what were some of the conversations that you have, and what were some considerations before you made that pivot?
There weren't a lot of conversations. It was like very like overnight.
So tell us the story. Tell us the story. Like get into the details. We need the details. He's here. He's gonna listen to it anyway.
But when he says the story, it's like so romantic, so beautiful. When I say the story, it's like.
Okay, well, that's us away.
All right, so I told him. He ended up moving to New York, and we found out we were pregnant. Like,
wait, where did y'all meet? Tell us that story. Hold on.
We met in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
I was on vacation. And he had just came after living in the Netherlands his whole life to Dominican Republic because he was born from there.
And you're a native New Yorker, right?
I was born in Albania. I came here when I was a child.
Okay.
So he moved here, and
we found
we found out we were pregnant. And the whole idea was I was still recording music videos. I was going to go in summer concerts, Albania, Europe, and then we find out we're pregnant. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? This is how life, and he's very, like, obviously he calculates everything. So in his mind, he works like a tech guy, tech genius. Everything is like a piece of the puzzle, and me, I'm like, head first, let's do it. Or, it's scary.
Yeah.
But I also believe the longer you sit around, and I just noticed this last night. I went into his office and I said, hey, I'm overthinking something, and the more I sit on the couch, the more my brain is proving to me not to do it. So I don't like to sit around on a decision and wait too long. If I am making a decision with someone that I trust, I'm just gonna give it a go. So it was more like, let's do it. You trust me, I trust you, let's go all in. Along the way, there's a lot of challenges. There's always going to be challenges. As long as you're set up for failure, you're gonna fail, whatever you're doing, but you're learning and you're taking it as a lesson and you keep going and you're not alone. The fact that I was not alone in this journey, obviously, it's harder because it's your partner, your husband, and your partner in crime, but you're not alone.
Right. So that's actually a really nice pivot into some people say like, oh, I don't like to mix work and my personal life. But I think when you start a business with your significant other, there's just so much that you learn separately as founders. And then there's also so many like lessons that you learn together as a couple. So where do you learn to kind of lean into each other with complementary superpowers? And also I'm curious, like, did you guys face any challenges on like how to run the business? Like, what's the biggest argument you guys have? That's kind of like a silly one.
I think when you respect a person and you know the person's zone of genius, and you know that they're good at what they're doing. I've always led with my masculine. So let's start with this. I've always been a go-getter. Society set me up for being like an independent woman, a New York hustler, strong, Albanian strong, tough, So coming into a relationship with also open up a business with your partner, the fact that now you're becoming a mom and then you also have to lean in your feminine, being like, in your femininity, and you're like, wait a minute, that's not, the biggest challenge is finding, I won't say balance, it doesn't exist, but integrating where I have to play the role of a woman and where he needs to lead with his masculinity.
And how does that like show up in the business?
You respect enough each other and you know each other's zone of genius and you do what's your part. Like you have to figure out what are you good at. And when the next person tries to butt in, I have to have enough of respect by saying, hey, that's my zone of genius. Please don't get involved. Like, let's test it out. We have nothing to lose.
Yeah. So what is your zone of genius? What is your role in the company and what is your hubby's?
So my zone of genius is visibility.
Okay.
When it comes to visibility, when it comes to messaging, when it comes to like positioning, the family, the business. And there's not always times where like I have a position and I'm stuck to that position and I'm doing that and that's what business is. Because when you're in business with your husband, I think it's also very important, and this is a tough lesson that I've learned as a mom of 2 boys. There's seasons where you're not even in business, like where you don't feel as a woman you're doing enough in business. Where I've gone to him and said, well, how is that my business? I'm not doing anything, I'm just taking care of the kids, or I'm just cooking and cleaning. And I think that's the season of where I have to like lean back. It's like, what's more important? Because it's the family business. It's not just a business. It's for the good of the family. And the long run, we're getting here, but these are steps or challenges that we have to go through right now. So at times, like he's 80% or 90% in the business, and maybe I'm 10%. And sometimes as a woman, a lot of times we're like, we don't feel worthy because we're not doing the big titles, or I call them like the LinkedIn titles, or like CEO or president. We don't have these shiny titles to feel worth it, So when it comes to that, it's like, there's a Tony Robbins quote that I heard him say one time, and I'll never look back at. We underestimate what we could do over a period of 1 year and overestimate what we could do in a decade. So to me, as I looked at everything like by tomorrow, get it done quick, fast, by tomorrow. Like, why didn't I succeed by the next month or next year? But when I look at this is a journey that I'm doing for my whole life, and regardless of the business or the business model that we're in or the industry that we're in, this is what we're building for our family.
Right. So to talk to us a little bit about your business. So it's an AI technology business. What kind of services do you offer? What do you do? And how did you kind of figure out that this was going to be the bread and butter of what you were going to build for the business?
My husband already had an existing business in that industry, and because that was his zone of genius. And I found out that the hardest part about a business was actually, I thought it was easy. Business was very easy. You get people, you do the work, and you serve the people. And as you're growing, as your business is growing, you find out that it's not hard to get people. Especially like with me, I love people, and I love serving people. The hardest part actually having the systems in place or having it roll the operations in place in order to be able to satisfy the clients you already have. And also those clients referring you other clients and keep it moving, generating. So learning that at first hand of how important it was, and that's what we were offering to clients, it comes from a special part of me because I always thought like you help the person. And now I no longer see it like that. Like you're not like helping one person. I think with our business, we're helping one to many. So we help the person who helps many.
Okay, so you're working with like a particular service provider and you're building out their infrastructure so that they can serve whatever clients they're helping.
Yes.
And do you have any like particular business sectors that you support in?
We have law firms, we have doctors, women in medicine, you know, that's very close to my heart because I know they're helping one to many.
Right.
So service providers who really are there to make an impact and want to make sure that they're utilizing, it's not even about technology, but utilizing their time efficiently.
And I think like AI is just such a trendy topic right now. Everyone's like, AI this, let me use it, let me automate my life so that I have more free time. How do you use AI in your daily life as a mom and as an owner of a family business?
Ooh, I think everybody likes AI. I'm often asked for AI, like they think I use it for marketing because I love content. I love being, you know, visible. I've been 20 years visible in TV and media. To me, I didn't think that was the best for me personally. I think AI is very strong, like I said, in operations. So for me also, I use it for systems at home.
Okay, so walk us through that. How do you use AI at home? What do you do?
Well, let's say this. AI is not just ChatGPT, but one of my favorites of AI is ChatGPT. Brain dumping, organizing, okay, this worked, that didn't work. How can I place it? How can I streamline? Can I add a tool to it? Can I add reminders to the things that I tend to be forgetful. Kids things, how can I automate those things? The systems of being able, my household is like run like a business.
Okay, so walk us through your family OS. Like, what does that mean? How do you prompt AI to help you remember all these things, and where does it live? How does the information get stored?
So no, it's still, I like to print out everything.
Okay.
So after I print them out, I'm a very, very, very visual person. I use it more for organization purposes for me inside my home. Okay. And then also use it to educate my kids.
Ooh.
Because I don't know how to be a parent. The parenthood like never came with a book. So I'm always tend to it as a help. As long as I'm prompted it correctly, I have to be able to compete with it. Like, no, you're wrong. That is not what I said. This is the context of it. This is what I'm trying to get to. Because AI could also be very addictive. You know, you could always turn around to it for information that they're just going to give you, spit out, you give, and it spits out whatever thinks is best for you. But as long as you know, like as a strategist point of view, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm strategically trying to get to. What would be the steps in a better way or a simple way that would work for me? And if it didn't work, then I always go back to it, like, how do I make it better?
Okay, I love that. And I mean, I think if people follow me on the newsletter or LinkedIn, because I do post a lot on LinkedIn, everyone knows I'm obsessed with AI and it's helped me so much in my business. I think I want to pivot to this whole idea of reinvention. You've reinvented yourself from a musical pop star to reality TV star, and now you're facing this like choice that you made to reinvent who you wanted to be and how you wanted to show up in your life, in your family, for your partner, for your boys. Why is reinvention so powerful as a woman?
We were always the belief system of someone else. So when we came to this world, obviously we adapted our family's culture, belief system, what they thought was best for us. And then we're thrown into society or school, and the school makes us what thinks is best for them and for their system. And then we get a job, and the job will be the same thing. Once we get into like business, a lot of the times like clients or friends or women that I speak to, they're so stuck on like, I've worked all my life for this title or for this name that I am now, that they make that all about their identity. That is all they are. So at a young age, being able to reinvent, I'm like, okay, this is easy. And being asked like, are you able to do it? I'm like, what do you mean? It's just a season now. I'm out of the season. It doesn't light me up. Every time something is not lighting you up anymore.
So it's kind of, I always think of like, for me at least, life is like a book. So there's different chapters, and it's writing this whole story of who I am, but each chapter has a different topic, right? It's like that thesis statement. It's going to give you a taste of this is what season or what chapter of life that you're in, but it doesn't mean that the story can't change. It doesn't mean that the character can evolve and grow. So how do you, I know that you also serve women on your social channels, and you really talk to people who are going through that transition of, hey, I'm this career woman, I'm all of these things, but then now I'm a mom, and how do I really show up in my space for my family and for others. Like, how do you advise people, maybe in just like a quick, easy step, if I'm struggling with who I think my identity is going to be or shift into, what are some questions I can ask myself to kind of discern some of those things?
It's not one thing, it's one to many things.
Right.
So if we're like, when we're trying to build, like today's social platforms are very up to like build a personal brand, and people start to tend to like, it's one topic, or a book, like you said, has one topic with a lot of different chapters in them. You're not writing one book, you're writing multiple books. It's a whole series.
Okay.
So one book is one topic. So now if asking yourself is, what else do I want to test out? And not get stuck. Maybe one book is about marketing, but next book could be about personal development. Not get stuck on the thing like what you did so far, it's not who you are. And then always coming back to you. I feel like the quieter I got through the years and dimmed the noise, I think the hardest part was quiet. Like I was always on in front of the camera, so when I had to get quiet and hearing my thoughts and my patterns, the quieter you get, the more things that you're like, what do I want to test? And then you start testing out all of the things that you could have thought about. Somehow your subconscious mind's already programmed the things that you want to do. You want to make pasta. You know, you want to try cooking, try all of the things before you pick things. And take everyone through the journey. I think the strongest asset to me building my personal brand is because I took people through the journey.
Right.
It wasn't a thing that I was doing. It wasn't music or reality TV or business. It was the fact that I failed publicly, or I thought I failed publicly, or I took them through the lessons, and and build the audience by taking them through the journey of when I cried, when I laughed, when I fell. So when people know you from a deeper level instead of just the facade that you put when you go on social media, that's really when you're testing not alone. You're testing with your community, and then you could become the leader that you are.
So I think the question would be then, like, what are all the things that I want to test out, and then go out and do them. And then through that trial and error and failure and lessons, you kind of start to figure out, okay, these are the things that I want to take for myself in my identity, and this is who I want to be, right? Because I think here at Minding Her Business, we're always sharing about women are multi-hyphenates, and we get to be all the things, and so many of us do so many things, right?
Yes.
And so getting to choose what you want to wake up and do and what lights you up inside, sometimes that takes a moment, because to your point, like learning how to make pasta is a lot different for some people, and maybe not what lights them up. And then some people can fit right into the kitchen and like pick it up very quickly, right? And so I think for anyone listening who's still in that career transition, or wondering, well, how do I wake up in the morning and really love what I do every day? It's not a linear path, and there's a lot of crossroads you have to enter and just believe that you're capable of figuring things out and being clear on, okay, well, I really want to get here. What are all the little things I need to learn and try out and figure out for myself so I get there?
It's like a roadmap.
Exactly.
If you're going from like New York to New Jersey, you're going to use your maps to go there. You either have to figure out your roadmap and try the things. Along the way, there's going to be traffic. Along the way, there's going to be a stoplight or construction that you didn't expect of. Like, be okay with it and get on. Like if you ask to reinvent yourself and, become this other person that you want to become, it's not really becoming outside, it's becoming inside.
Yeah, and I think
starting with the inside is the scariest part. Like no one wants to do that. It's easy to take a position or open up another business, and that's where I think also entrepreneurs have such a hard time with it too, or like transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship, because that the belief that they already have behind that title, or going from like one business to another business. And I don't believe in like picking the model first. I'd be like, what's the lifestyle do you want to have? Who are you? What do you want? And then picking that thing that fits it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we're going to pivot to some lightning questions, which are my favorite. And these are very much just the first thing that comes to mind, okay? Okay, so what is in your purse that is your must-have beauty item right now?
Lip gloss.
Lip gloss, what kind, what brand?
Unsure.
Just like something sparkly and like good. Okay, what's your go-to coffee order?
French vanilla, light and sweet.
Ooh, love that. Okay, what if I open up your Spotify or your music? What's the last song that has been on repeat the most this past month?
God, I'm like such a weird person. I'll go like from Andrea Bocelli to like Romeo Santos, bachata to Albanian music, like probably a mix of all of those.
I think those are all really good. It sounds like a good jam session.
You're like, what is going on here?
Oh my gosh. And what is like your go-to favorite outfit that makes you feel the most confident when you go out?
Black on black.
See that? Yeah. There we go. All right. And then my last question is, if people want to learn more about you or connect with you, where can they find you online?
All social platforms at Ledi Vokshi.
Okay, beautiful. And then last question for you, Ledi. How do you mind your own business?
I don't. I don't mind my own business. I'm supposed to mind my own business. I'm from New York. I don't mind my own business. The second I see someone, I'm like, okay, what do you need? I'm here to serve. To me, it's such a like give back. Instead of ask to receive, I like to give. So the second I see someone, I just want to like, I don't mind my own business. Like, what can I give? What can I do? What do you need?
I mean, that makes sense because the first time I met you, you DM'd me on Instagram and we had like a 3-hour
conversation,
voice memo podcast episode. So that totally tracks.
This should have been a podcast,
Right?
right?
It really should have been. But guys, we've been talking about making this podcast for so long, and it's
Over
really
a year.
started from those voice memos on Instagram
Okay.
a year ago. So I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you so much. And
I'm
we
so
did
happy.
it. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode of Minding Your Own Business. Thank you.